Hello, my Danganronpa diehards. Spoilers for Danganronpa 1, spoilers for Danganronpa 2, just all of it. Let's just say all of it. What if this is the last episode? I think it might be. Whew. You're listening to the Super Danganronpa Diaries on the Melovanium Always, and if you don't want spoilers, you better clear out. 3, 2, 1. Content warning. Pet death. Though I don't know if any pets actually died. The topic will come up though. Hello, I think I am about to see the last death, besides like Chiaki Komaeda nonsense, if there is one. I am a few hours into chapter 5, but moreover, I did the chapter 4 class trial last night, and my third idea was the correct one. The one thing I was dead wrong on was, there's no reason that Sonya would like Tanaka Gundam more, knowing that he's going to kill somebody. She wouldn't know at all. There's no reason for her to know. That would be a problem. He would be getting everybody killed. That's not the type of collaboration, Kyohansha shit you can actually do. No, he just fucking killed the Tin Man. He just fucking killed him. What was his reasoning? It's a dog-eat-dog world and you have to kill to survive. I don't know if I fully processed this. I just made another Danganronpa friend who I think I'm going to ask about this. Like, was he actually trying to get everybody out? Because I feel like Gundam was at his peak likability, and then he randomly comes out with the, yeah, no, I killed him. I was going crazy. We're just going to sit in here waiting to die? No, I totally bought into the killing game thing, and I just fucking killed this guy. I don't know if I like him more or less. I don't know if and when a favorites ranking is going to come into this. I don't know if I'm going to publish an episode 6 before I finish the Danganronpa 2 game and do the Danganronpa 2 movie. I genuinely don't know when this is going to come out. But yeah, I don't know if I like him more or less, but it was really badass seeing like a little bit of the fight between him and Mechamaru. It was honestly really cool, just the whole concept, and I feel like that's exactly the brain versus bronze Celeste killing Sakura kind of shit that I kept predicting in Danganronpa 1. I don't know, he did it. He used his hamsters and he fucking did it. And I will say, he had like the best execution. It was so gentle. It was like, but what will become of my 4 demon warriors or whatever. And they like watch the execution, and like a very, very sweet scene where like he dies and like happily closes his eyes in front of them. And then his ghost goes to heaven. I don't think this was animatronics. I think we're just like suspending disbelief here. It's like a very beautiful kind of peaceful execution, because frankly he was a very likable guy, even though he literally did the killing game thing and just killed a guy to survive. A bunch of like pets that he raised that had died descended from heaven and carried him up to the heavens once he died. Like, it's so hard not to love this guy. And then Monokuma was like standing behind the 4 hamsters, and I think kind of gesturing to the big ghost of Gundam in the sky. So I don't think it was some fucked up thing where he killed them. I think he just like, I think that's just how it ended. It's just like, that's where your master is. I have not seen the hamsters. I thought there might be something where Sonya takes care of the hamsters. I don't know. But yeah, I was constantly, it's like who keeps the dog in the divorce? How do the pets factor into the execution in a Danganronpa killing game? I was really shocked when I met this new friend. She said that maybe chapter 4 was her favorite chapter, and she mentioned it was very emo, and I don't know. Once I ruled out that it wasn't going to be suicide, because in the game they make reference to Sakura's death and suicide. Yeah, Komaeda got, I'm glad I'm recording this. Komaeda got the Danganronpa 1 files because he did a Zero Escape killing game, because we shifted perspectives to Komaeda. Oh my god, I was like, yeah, I don't know, like, I want to finish up chapter 4 before the end of Golden Week, but I don't know, today I finally sit down to do the investigation, and I switch perspectives to Komaeda. Sure, okay, my Makoto sensors are going absolutely insane, despite all of the obvious parallels in Monokuma saying it, and him accidentally, or maybe intentionally, but pretending he doesn't know what he's talking about, saying it. I want to become something more. Maybe I could become the ultimate hope. Shut the fuck up, Komaeda-san. So I switch to Komaeda. I do this investigation for Nidai Osan's death. and I end up in a fucking Zero Escape reference. I have to do an escape room, and there's real blood on the walls, and Monomi is there, and I'm trapped in escape room purgatory with Komaeda, just completely flunking every puzzle, getting super autistic rage about like ways of thinking that are incongruent with my logic, with my rigid logic structures in my brain. Super fun. Genuinely, it was fun, but there were moments that just like, fuck this! I had to look up a guide, but the guide was in English, and then I had to figure out the localization differences with the planets puzzle and the days of the week between Japanese and English on my own, even though I was really struggling with the puzzle. I did it though. That was actually kind of gratifying. Komaeda does the escape room. He gets access to secret information, including a file on Danganronpa 1 and a file on like the Mirai group or whatever. I should really look at how that word is translated. Mirai Corporation or Mirai Tribe, I don't know. The Mirai people. So he knows all this shit, and he starts to become super fucking erratic because he learns that Hajime doesn't have a quirk, doesn't have an ultimate skill, and he's like, you're just a stupid normie, and he starts going crazy. Komaeda is just going off the rails, but while that's happening, he's able to bring to the table knowledge of at least the first 4 chapters, if not all of Danganronpa 1. He just has a book with Danganronpa 1 in it, so he sits down and he points out all the shit that I said, or most of the shit that I said, paralleling the first 2 games, and again, talking to that new friend, it's like, yeah, it's hard not to just talk constantly about the parallels between these games. It's just off the walls. But point is, once we brought up Sakura's suicide and said that it wasn't going to be another suicide, I was all in on Akane doing it, but I was totally barking up the wrong tree. I don't think we were supposed to think that she didn't care about Mecha Ulsan, which is nice, but I still wonder, like, why didn't I get more content of them being happy together before he died? That was just a thing that was there that maybe wasn't intentional. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting like he wouldn't have wanted to be alive like this. I was expecting like he always loved working out and now he can't even do that. Or even like he's a fucking clone and there's nothing left of the original man. But instead he just got taken out Koroshiai killing game style. Again, like with chapter 3, there are a lot of, well, chapter 3 was very crazy, but there were a lot of grounded, like actual whodunit type shit. And this was like super duper whodunit type shit. I was actually shocked how just normal mystery it was. And then that part was fun, but I thought it would be like half normal and then half like super introspective, like Akane and Nekomaru. I kind of like my idea better, but I don't want to lose Akane. I can't believe I was saying all these characters would die. I have my Fuyuhiko and my Soda. Soda I knew was going to survive, but I have my Fuyuhiko and my Akane and my Sonya, characters I did not think much of and I consistently predicted to die, and if anything happens to any of them, I will be sad. That said, I have a Ginger prediction about one of them dying, which I just think is crazy. Because just comparing the surviving parties of the last 2 games, like, I get that Chiaki and Komaeda are going to be more active than Junko was. That's, like, problem makers. But, oh my god. The fact that it's just fucking Hajime, Soda, Fuyuhiko, Akane, and Sonya is so funny. They're cute. It's just so fuck-ass. It's just such a fuck-ass squad. However, I've been going back and forth. Do I think Komaeda is about to die and cause... It seems like he keeps saying, like, I think this will be the last one. So he is, I think, kind of referencing the Kirigiri Mukuro thing where I think Chapter 5 is going to be the last, like, class trial or the last murder. And then we're going to have, like, extra Chapter 6 to get it right or continue the story. However, we are now in Nezumi Castle, we are now in Disneyland, and I just cannot forget this one fucking Instagram meme about when your classmate dies but the investigation music slay. I can't believe I am 9 minutes into talking about this shit from the bottom of my heart, and I have to bring up the Instagram short when the investigation music is so slay. But that's just how Danganronpa fans spoil each other. This is just how we show our affection. It was this thing where it was like kind of an angelic scene, and it looked like Sonya was the corpse, or Fuyuhiko's sister, and Komaeda was the character who was like, I don't know, like dancing or whatever. It didn't seem like he was like celebrating, but like the caption was like, when your classmate died, but the music is so good. So just like the tone of the weird castle once we're inside it, the fact that it's talking about like the password to escape the island, or I think escape the island, at least it would get us into the Mirai ruins. The fact that this is all coming together, Sonia's losing her cool. Sonia's been at the center of so many scenes. Sonia is the one looking for the password. I feel like I'm about to find her body in there. I really do. I didn't want to believe this, but I am predicting that Komaeda knows the password. Komaeda kills somebody, and now he creates a situation where Monokuma and Chiaki have to fight. Because if Monokuma executes Komaeda, Chiaki can't escape the island, because Komaeda has to give out the password. And Komaeda having the password to escape the island and not sharing it is the most Komaeda fucking power play ever. So I think he's gonna kill one more person, make himself like on death row for the class trial, but then like the trick is going to be whether or not Chiaki like stops Monokuma to get the password and save herself, presumably. I don't exactly get like motivations here, but I am locked in on Chiaki being some kind of mastermind that is not related to Monokuma, as previously said. It's still really hard to say. But a fun fact is that if you search Monokuma execution on Tenor, I thought the gavel gif that comes up is like a one panel flash of Mondo's execution animation, like the little red pixels. I sent this gif to my friend thinking it would be that and nobody would even notice. In fact, my friend Robbie played Chapter 2 recently. Man, everybody is on this Danganronpa shit in May 2026. Holy shit. It flashes me and Robbie, who God bless their soul, actually recognize the character, I think, with game over. Chiaki is the killer. So, if it's the number one fucking gif for Monokuma execution, it's probably him executing her. It's probably him defeating her. It's technically possible that he doesn't manage to defeat her, but it does mean that we figure out she is the Kurudo or something in a class trial. Of course, that would imply that she kills somebody. But no. Oh, then again, no. Junko got executed because she killed... No. Why did Junko get executed? She didn't kill Mukuro. She didn't kill Kyoko. No, I mean, I feel like we just kind of killed Junko because she was the mastermind. So if that's the case, Chiaki doesn't have to kill one of this little almost surviving party quintet thing. She doesn't have to necessarily, unless she like kills Komaeda or something. But I don't know. It's getting down to it now, and yeah, she's not a good guy, I don't think. Not that I was surprised by that, but it was so funny. I felt like Tom and Jerry where I went to bop my friend with this funny joke, like, you don't like the Akira Toriyama art style? You have to be executed. And then like the spring-loaded, like squishy boxing glove comes around and bops me in the face as I shoot myself in the head with a Chiaki execution spoiler. Motherfucker. Well, I really like Akane and Sonya. I don't want them to die. I knew Fuyuhiko was good. I didn't think he was this good, but he is just a consistent positive presence. All three of those characters are getting slashed in 2x2, and Soda. But oh my god, what a funny party. For people who have known the surviving party for so long, it must be normal. But for me, I was an idiot. I made an ass of myself. I could never have predicted this. They've been really good. Soda sucks shit, though. Oh my god. It has been like 3 chapters since I have gotten a smile out of anything with the Sonya crush thing, aside from the absolutely top tier chapter 4 love triangle thing. That was so cute. And then honestly, I don't know. I need to process Gundam's motivations more, because it's kind of awkward having Sonya be like, Gundam taught us a valuable lesson. Like, uh-huh. He really did. Like, he fucking sacked somebody because he was hungry. I don't know. It wasn't even I'm doing it because my pets are starving. That would have been an easy out. No, he was just like, it's time to do this. And then Hajime says, did you do it to save us? He's like, no. It's like, whatever. On top of being trapped in the escape room, I also couldn't spell the crazy Chunibyo, like, Ankoku Kami something for emperors, Hokai or whatever. I could not figure out the fucking Chunibyo name for his hamsters, so I had to redo his little rap battle segment like 8 times. I spent around half an hour like pushing the button and shooting him over and over again, trying to spell Ankoku Kami for emperors Hokai over and over and over and over and over again. I probably attempted it like 30 or 40 times total and had to redo the section like 8 times. I was smiling though. It's a fun game. Hello. You're listening to Danganronpa Thursdays on the Melovanium always, but you already knew that because this is just going to be tacked on to the Danganronpa 2 super movie, isn't it? I think it is. It might not be. It might be its own episode, but it probably is. So coming right after the Chapter 4 thoughts. I sat down. Maybe I wasn't completely in the mood to play Danganronpa, but I was enough, and I wanted to see the weird, new, futuristic, Monokuma sci-fi dystopia-themed island. That was certainly interesting. And I had some time, and I'm like, this is the amount of time that could let me see the final victim. All this shit happened with Komaeda. He starts talking about the next case being the last. Things really start to wind down, and I'm still sitting here like I made my prediction. I had my prediction. I'm like, I think it might be Sonya in the castle. It wasn't Sonya in the castle. Wasn't. It was Komaeda. You see his body? Oh, it is such an interesting little death. And the epic music plays, and you are now investigating Komaeda's death, aren't you? I'm particularly emotional right now. I've been very emotional today for a few reasons. So this is a very emotional digest on meeting the surviving party and seeing the end of Komaeda and wrapping up this game, essentially. I'm in the end game now. I'm going to play the Chapter 5 class trial, either the first half or maybe both halves. I don't know. Wouldn't be that late. I wouldn't be up that late if I did, so maybe I will. But man, how many different ways can I say it? Akane and Sonya are gonna be last girls. I mean, just look at the series. Look at the series and how much I disrespected them, how much I consistently predicted them to die, and the amount that I just didn't think they had what I thought was the nuance that they needed to survive. But man, when it came down to it, I felt like they were my ducklings, them and Fuyuhiko and Soda, but you know, a duckling that's made out of titanium that can't be killed in Soda's case, because I know he lives. And I just really was like, oh, I know that maybe one of them dies. I know that maybe one of them dies. But honestly, after Gundam went out, I was like, this is it. This is definitely it. It just felt right. The balance was there. Yeah, it's them. Soda, Fuyuhiko, eye patch Fuyuhiko. All you need is an eye patch, and then you have plot armor to survive till the very end. Akane and Sonya. And I haven't said it. Maybe I've said it a little bit. I've pretty much committed to. I am going to sort of continue the Danganronpa Diaries series, not as a live playthrough kind of thing. Well, I will. I will do some form of 2x2. Although we're going to be playing most of that game live together on stream probably for most people listening to this. But I have some character-specific videos, and there will probably be more other retrospective type videos I want to make. Just kind of, you know, this sort of podcast-style discussion about Danganronpa. I want to make a Leon video. I want to go back and start making character videos, because all my friends are playing Danganronpa 1 right now, so it's on my mind. But oh my god, just to start in on my feelings about this, Sonya is going to be such an interesting video. I disrespected her over and over and over again till the very end. And I'm sliding here into my Chapter 5 prediction just a little bit because I don't know how much we're going to be copy-pasting the ending of Danganronpa 1 here, but I do see signs that she might be set up by Chiaki. Chiaki definitely did this with Monomi, which is really funny and kind of freaky. I do see some signs with the English everywhere. There was English on the fire extinguisher stuff that actually made the fire burn brighter. And Chiaki has shown a couple times in this chapter that she has a decent grasp on English, so I feel like it's possible Chiaki used a little bit of English, and something that happened when everybody was rushing to see Komaeda's friggin' fireworks set up. Like, he had bombs in places. He blew up a bomb. He sent soda flying. Bro was fine. He was just going crazy and off the deep end, and we were at the end of his threats, and he was like, the backstabber has one day to tell me who they are. I'm gonna blow us all to high hell. And we thought we were like diffusing a Komaeda bomb situation. And then somehow Sonya comes in. Somehow Sonya knows that they're fireworks, so she saw them. It just feels like consistently, she is getting even more focused than Akane or Fuyuhiko, or certainly Soda. And consistently in this little breakdown in chapter 5, she's just a little bit out of sync with everybody else. She keeps arriving to shit late and stuff like that. So I think that Chiaki could frame her to the point that there is a Sonya execution bad end. But I don't think it's the real end at all. I'm convinced that she survives. So for the sake of prediction, this is not a disrespect to Sonya. I am completely over disrespecting Sonya Nevermore. I am sorry. I will tell immigration that I am sorry. They will realize I am no longer committing gaijin crimes. I am sorry. I kept disrespecting her. I kept saying she wasn't going to make it. She was too much of a stereotype. Nope. She was absolutely interesting enough. And she is good enough to be the tragic Kirigiri final fake-out death. Of course, she's not exactly Kirigiri. Not quite the same tier. But a fake Sonya death would be so devastating. That would be a perfectly fine bad end. As honor, I am saying, she might have been framed for this. But she's going to roll out of it fine. I'm going to reset and do the chapter 6 thing as far as I know. So there's that. But no, she was funny. She's been funny. Oh, I gotta save my real feelings till the true end. But I cannot believe that the friggin' soda simping thing went on this long. I'm thinking about how charming, like, some of the very first lines were like, no, trust me, your Japanese reached us. Like in chapter 1, it really was cute. And it's so funny that I let off being like, oh, all she does is get chatted up by Teru, and he says pervy shit to her. I was so locked into that. That was nothing. I knew nothing. Soda is so much more annoying with it. He is just kind of rough all around. I like him, but he has not had the turnaround that I was hoping for. And God, I totally get why some people don't like him. He has not been given many boons with things to do and say. But yeah, Sonya started to really take charge of things. She's very smart, very helpful. And just completely like telling him to shut up and stuff like that. It's just so funny. She figured out, and I mean, she is so obsessed with she's so obsessed with like the memory of Gundam and stuff. It's so funny. Like I feel like unless I misread something, I feel like she's almost like misunderstanding, and she's like holding him to too high of a standard. Like we have to do this for the lesson that Gundam taught us. Like I think that guy just was ready to kill. I don't know. I don't think I fully understand Gundam stuff. But I have opened my mind to the possibility that he may have slipped at least enough, well, another character grew enough, that Fuyuhiko really might be my second favorite guy. And considering Fuyuhiko was like nothing but baller character, great design, like it might be pushing a little bit above his weight class in my heart of hearts, but I might like him. I might be starting to like him better than Soda. We're going to see how things settle, but man, he had a great run. He is just the perfect kind of character to toe the line between like a super competent genius like Togami, Kirigiri, Chiaki, Komaeda. He's not that invincible tier, but he is just so effective. He's a good assistant guy. He can be a leader type. Like he has just been such a positive presence, and his rebirth after Peko Peko's death has been awesome. Everything he does is so charged with that, and he was crying. There was an optional thing I did where he was near the shrine to Mahiru, and I think he was crying. It's like chapter 5. He's been through so much. He can move on, frankly, but he still feels guilty about Mahiru. he is an awesome character. Like he is one of the textbook reasons that I've been telling people, like, no, 2 is so much better than 1. It's just got the characters, it's got the arcs, it's just got the story is so much more intriguing. And then Akane, I've just learned so much from Akane. I thought she was like kind of cool at the beginning, but mostly just like whatever, kind of a bit character. But she really just like, it's not like Luigi wins by doing nothing. That's Soda. Akane just really genuinely was such a compelling character simply by caring about another person. She really fell into the Aoi slot where it's like she's very honest, she really speaks what she's feeling, and she really, really cared about Nidai, and just having that get toyed with and seeing her have to kind of like grapple with things. It's very similar to Aoi. Seeing her grapple with things, talk them through out loud, make mistakes, just she really has grounded the group. But she also has a lot of theoretical benefit I had with Sakura, where I'm like, oh, Sakura could protect us from things, but there really weren't any situations where we had to use Sakura's muscle in Danganronpa 1. Akane actually will like tackle Komaeda, pin people. She's like almost killed Monokuma, almost killed Komaeda. Like she has been like the muscle in a way that nobody actually was in Danganronpa 1, which is nice. But just like her voice actress really eats it up. She has a little bit of like a vocal fry almost on some lines, and her reactions are so good. And just like she's like Kirby almost, where it's like her just always being hungry and really just like, I don't know, like passionate about just like doing shit. It's a little bit like simple, but I don't know, just like she's good. She's a good, consistent character. It's so funny. It's just so funny. Akane and Sanya. Ryuhiko, of course, like after the plot development stuff, of course he could survive, but man, this is a ragtag bunch, and yet they are very much deserving of my love. I do miss characters. I do really miss characters. I have my little journal with my Mahiru, Hiyoko, and fucking Chiaki on here. I've finally hit the wall with Chiaki. It's like, nope, you're not cute anymore. You're not cool anymore. You're freaking me out. I know what you did to Komaeda. No more. For a while, it's been like, no, she's pretty cool. No, she's pretty freaky. I gotta start processing her as the villain. But I noticed like Mahiru and Hiyoko was just like, man, where did the time go? Where did the game go? Well, it went into Golden Week in my case, but man, I do really miss the full cast. I miss everybody's vibes so much. I really do miss having them around. And it's funny because, like, you know, Kyoko is not by a long shot, but fairly firmly my favorite DR1 character. Celeste really does hold up. It is funny how well she has held up. But Ibuki, far and away my favorite Danganronpa character, and there is a little bit of a sadness to have chapters without her that I haven't fully processed, because I'm invested in these weirdos, but you know, Gundam was a comfort character, kind of left on a weird note with him, haven't fully processed that, he's gone. I loved Mecha Nidai, he's gone now. There is a degree of like, maybe the game's a little past its prime for me, but I am very excited for the ending. I loved the ending of the last game, but the ending of the last game had Kirigiri finding her dad's photograph of her in the office in the computer with Kyoko, and, you know, I was a lot more invested, so... I'm not saying it's going to be a slog, but there is a degree of, like, I'm invested in this, but my favorite chapters might be behind me. I don't know. Komaeda's death is such... My first feeling is like, this is such a mix of the sacred and the shitty, cruddy, profane. He is tied up in the back of a storage room, fucking obviously has been tortured, and died with his eyes open, making an expression like he was fighting or shocked. Like he was killed like an animal. These kids have all been killed pretty brutally, but like, you know, Nidai fell on his head. Ibuki was hung, which was freaky, but also very like aura. She was hung in the live house, like freaky, disturbing, but very like intentional. Hiyoko got kind of killed like a fucking animal, but like she looked very sad, and there was a lot of like, it was very like sympathetic, like, no, oh, she's dead. Mahiru did get fucking brutally killed. But but it's like she has the parallel with like the game and everything. I've almost played all of this game. Mahiru's death is still the weirdest thing to me. I guess we'll talk about that later once I've seen everything, and it's possibly, knock on wood, still the weirdest thing to me. I don't fucking know, man. But she was very sad and like, no, my god. But it was also very like classic murder victim. And then Togami was definitely sad. I think I saw it confirmed last night. I have to check the Japanese, but I think I saw it confirmed last night that Tugami is a different guy. I figured, but I was starting to lean towards him maybe being the real Togami. But I've never been able to read the kanji for Togami's quirk. And then the Tugami was listed as nothing but his quirk in the student registry. And I think if I look at his quirk, his ultimate status, I think it's going to be like the ultimate imposter or something like that. I'm pretty sure. I have to double check. I'm glad I can screenshot now. I have to double check the Japanese there because I think it was confirmed he's a different guy. But Tugami was like, he was just such a good guy in my opinion. And like he died trying to protect everybody. It wasn't like a dignified death, but Komaeda was tied up in the back of a storage room, just scratched to hell, obviously tortured, killed, stabbed through the gut like a pig, killed way earlier than I would have expected to some degree. Just weirdly casual. And the body has been discovered. Weird, but at the same time, the spear is so crazy. And they may have said it's Gungear, which is like, fuck that. Enough Gungears. We already had Gungear. That's crazy mythos. Like, what is the symbolism? I haven't even Googled that. It definitely had a special name, the spear. But like, the spear from the castle, from the Disney castle, right into his belly. The light is shining on him. They are doing the warehouse fan light reflection thing on the ground, like in Death Note, where Light is killed. Sorry, spoilers for Death Note. Didn't warn you on that one. Where Light finally meets his end, the famous like image of the warehouse where he's shot is the spinning fans in that empty warehouse. And in the Komaeda warehouse, there is light coming through, and like that is like the most striking thing to me is the image of the fan spinning. So I had a feeling they might be doing like a Death Note callback, but these fans are spinning. He is right in the center of the back of the room. It's brutal. It's awful. His eyes are open. He's gagged. He's making this expression still, which is so freaky and fucked. But he has just like this beautiful spear, and someone's iPod fucking Nano is playing this crazy, heavenly, terrifying music, just this pure aura music. In game is blasting in the room, like you're finding something so important. You're finding the final body, basically. It's just such a Komaeda thing to be like half super divine, super sacred, and half super shitty, forgotten, cruddy, back alley, Just really stuck with me. It was hard to process at first, too. I'm like, what am I looking at? I know I've played a lot of Danganronpa, and I'm getting kind of tired, but what the fuck am I looking at? It's so weird. A funny story is, I had the perfect seat. I got like a connecting train from my station to the next station to my friend's house, so I didn't have to change. I could just like grab a seat while the train was quiet and then ride it all the way down. And I got the perfect seat where I can play my Vita, where it's only me and another person and nobody ever sits next to you there. But for whatever goddamn reason, on a 3 p.m. on a Saturday, there were so many people on this train that a woman sat down to me immediately. So I was sitting there investigating and prodding Komaeda's corpse, and a random middle-aged woman sits down next to me. Obviously can see everything. And just like politely goes about like her scrolling her phone or whatever. I'm like, I need to get out of here immediately. I need to stop playing Danganronpa in public. But also, I've also had good runs. Like I did everything with Mecha Nidai. I did the Strawberry and Grape House on the train, and it was in the same seat where no one sat next to me. It was perfect. Like one of my favorite sessions. But she sat down right next to me. I'm like, fuck! I lost like 20 minutes. I just went and played Shovel Knight. Good shit. Happy to see him, but no, I was like, oh, can't a lady prod the corpse in public? Can't you leave me be? Or it's like, I'll just keep investigating. I promise the rest of it won't be as demented looking. It's like, no, I'm not going to make her look at Komaeda's mangled body. Man. I definitely softened a little bit to him, seeing him die. I always do, once I see their bodies. I always feel like, oh, I just want to comfort them, and it's just so sad. I don't know. But he's still a weirdo. It's going to be interesting. I think my feelings on him are going to start to come out in the wash as we go through the final chapters, but I don't know. There might not be that much Komaeda after the trial. It might be a lot of Chiaki next chapter. Anything could happen. I want all-out war. I want all-out, like, mechs and tanks and shit. I want Sonya to drive a tank. I want, like, big Monomi mechs versus Monokuma mechs. I want just, like, full warfare, since we have all these islands to mess up, basically. Just go crazy. Just have crazy scale conflict, huge, like, use the outdoor setting to your advantage and just, like, send the characters all over the place. Just make it a total crazy fest. Use what you have. Flex it. But let's see what happens. Hello. Komaeda set up a trick. He made an elaborate scene to make it look like he was tortured. I'm convinced. I don't think Chiaki Amanami did it. I really don't think Chiaki Amanami did it for the moment. He made an incredibly elaborate setup to make it look like he was being tortured. He also set it up such that he could set the room on fire, and he held the lance that punctured him from a long stringy whip end from the ceiling, and he held it such that he wouldn't let go until he was dead. He killed himself by filling a canister that was meant to be a fire extinguishing fluid with poison gas. He mixed it in with like a dozen plus other bottles of just normal fire extinguishing fluid. So when the surviving party and Chiaki, rest in shit, grabbed the fire extinguishing bottles to throw them into the room to put out the fire, one of them, nobody could ever possibly know who, one of them grabbed the poison bottle. The poison bottle created a vapor that he breathed in, killing him, and then he released the spear, and as he was dead, the spear punctured him. So it looked like he was tortured. Then it looked like he killed himself. Finally, it was revealed that he was actually killed by the poison gas, invisibly. But it's the first murder we've had where it is impossible to tell who killed them. So the gang loses their mind very slowly, very methodically. We work to the point of it's completely impossible to finish this trial. And Chiaki, oh, the emotions are coming. Chiaki remembers that he was so serious about his luck. Russian roulette, I think, was the perfect scene to set this up. Like in Russian roulette, he has such confidence in his fucking quirk, in his fucking talent, that she says, Komaeda, all he wanted to do was reveal the traitor. He wanted to reveal the traitor even in death. He's still trying to reveal the traitor right now. He died gambling that the person who threw the bottle with poison would be the traitor. And it fucking worked. Komaeda's gambit was a completely random situation where a completely random student would kill him unknowingly, and he just completely trusted his luck and the universe to make that student be the traitor. We work ourselves to the point where everyone believes this theory, and Hajime is able to prove that Chiaki is the killer, and she leads him to it. She leads him to it because she knows he knows. Because of the final piece of evidence here, there was a picture book, a fucking picture journal drawn in crayon in Monomi's house that Komaeda stole, and that Chiaki and Hajime recovered. And in here was notes about the everyday life of the kids on the island so far. But Monokuma lets it slip that Monomi never knew how to write letters. So someone else was writing this. Someone else was like reporting information to her in this adorable crayon book. And there was one page Hajime caught with information only Chiaki would know. So once again, despite the insane circumstances and the layers of pure madness, this was a very technical case with a very interesting whodunit. Yet it did ultimately end in a completely cosmic ass pull. So they vote to execute Chiaki, or they vote that she did it, and she did it, and Monokuma confirms it. Somehow he knew, he was able to see from his cameras, she did have the bottle with the poison. So Komaeda was correct and it worked. And then we get Monomi and Chiaki's final stand, where they reveal, just like the fucking U2's figure plushie leak, they are in fact connected. They have a deep connection, and they're connected to the Mirai Corporation, but they did not fucking reveal what it is that they do. I'm actually a little bit tired of the backstabber having such little consequence now after Sakura and this. Like, yes, clearly they brought them to the island, ... But everything from there was like Chiaki genuinely, until she died, was trying to protect everybody. And she said, the thing is, I can't stab, like, yes, I'm the backstabber, I'm the traitor, but I can't betray the Mirai Corporation. Like, she really seems to be caught between the friends that she legitimately wants to protect and this organization that just owns her ass and that created Monomi. I do not know what they are. I'd like to find out what they are. I'd like to find out whether there was actually like a lot of evil there, because as far as I can tell, I'm back to what I thought a couple chapters ago, where Monomi and Chiaki do not seem that bad. It still doesn't seem like they've done anything that bad, except bringing the kids here, and then Monokuma took it over to make it evil. So what happened here? I don't know. I am this close to forgiving them and saying like Chiaki is like a hero. I am this close, and they were so cute. The execution was so cute. She kept like taking Monomi by the hand and like trying to save her, and it was just so precious, and they went out so well. And then the next day comes, or a few days go by, and the bomb is about to go off. The bomb in the center of the island. The whole world begins to glitch, as if a simulation is falling apart. We start to hallucinate people who died. All 4 survivors head to the ruins. Komaeda somehow, from the grave, has sent them a video message in which he reveals the fucking password to the ruins is 1137, like Leon. I just got 6-7'd. That made me feel more insane than almost anything else that happened. We go in there. We see some kind of creepy class trial-esque like ruin crypt thing. And then the whole world cuts out. And we wake up in some kind of... We're seeing some kind of memory that happened where Komaeda is talking to somebody on a boat, and they're talking about the ultimate despair, and Komaeda is on his way to Jabberwock Island somehow. It's called Chapter 0. He wants to meet the ultimate despair again. He fucking hates her. He knows she's dead. He wants to meet Junko Enoshima again, and he reveals that he has her hand. His hand is a woman's hand, and it has the fucking red nail paint that was used in the Chapter 5 trial from Danganronpa 1. He has Junko's hand. It's in his arm. He reveals his hand, and it is Junko's hand. Great, okay. We go back to Hajime. He's glitching through all reality, seeing this Komaeda-themed nightmare. And finally, the Komaeda-themed nightmare more or less ends at Hope's Peak Academy, Danganronpa 1. And the Danganronpa 1 school announcement with Monokuma with the wine plays, and he says, "We're about to begin the graduation ceremony, so come to the gym." So obviously I need to go to the gym. New idea. I pop the mic in and react every once in a while going through this absurd dreamlike experience, being extremely physically tired from my week of debauchery. Alter ego, let's fucking go! I love this series. I love these 2 games so much, man. And funny enough, this is not the main feeling I have after finishing, but I just went to research one thing I was very unclear on while I was playing. I just searched like, is Chiaki a real person? And in route, as one could expect, I saw like 2 concerning things about the things that my friend told me were like character assassination. for the DR2 cast in the V3 anime, which is like, okay, I'm not interested in that. There's like some second killing game the survivors get dragged into. It's like I literally don't care. And I somehow got the Mastermind of 3 respoiled as a different character name I did not recognize. Like, oh great, I've had the Mastermind of 3 spoiled twice. I wonder how many deaths are going to be spoiled before I play the fucking game. And with that, it was just like a potential thing that one character says might be the reality of Danganronpa, but they suggested that all of Danganronpa is just like a play and a fiction in universe, and because I am so soft and full of love for 1 and 2 right now, it's like, I do not fucking care. And if the ending of 3 is that bad, and if the D3 anime is that bad, I don't care about 3 right now. I had so much fun with these 2 games, and I got so much out of the 1 stuff that just happened, though I wasn't entirely on board with it, that I am literally just in bliss right now. And if I don't play a damn thing besides my little PS Vita 1 and 2 Reloaded, I would be a happy woman. I mean, oh my god, I was saying that like I wasn't as invested as I could be in the finale, but like such a big part of that was the Komaeda stuff hadn't really set in yet, and I had been bracing literally the entire game. Numerous times per chapter I have said, Chiaki is too perfect of a character because she's fucking with us. She's like a long-term psyop Sayaka. She's too perfect. She's not Kirigiri. She's not our little buddy. She's not the heroine. She's the villain. She's the mastermind. If you look at merch, it's always Junko with Monokuma, Chiaki with some form of Monokuma, and Monomi. I didn't know Monomi was the way she is until today, and then Shuichi with Monokuma. I'm like, okay, those are the 3 masterminds, whatever. I guess maybe Shuichi's a baller, unless he's the ultimate cosplayer who's actually the master. Fuck that. If you can't keep your spoilers straight, then I don't care. Then I don't fucking care. No, oh my god. All I did was show up and disrespect these characters. And then they come out and they give me such a good show, and I end up loving them so much. I just started crying about how much of an angel Chiaki is. Oh my god, she never meant any harm to anybody. The only thing she did wrong was be a part of the Mirai group, which is a group that was created by the Danganronpa 1 survivors, and our representatives of the Danganronpa 1 survivor Mirai group are the big 3, and they are the ones who show up to deal with things. Chiaki was like their creation, by which I mean creation, by which I mean she's a computer program, because this was a simulation. I am so happy that nobody told me it's all a dream. I am so happy nobody told me it's all a video game. They did such a good job just like sprinkling in the unreality and making it work, and like after 1 there was just enough I could suspend my disbelief on, like sure, why not? Of course Monokuma has giant mech beasts now, but no, they did such a good job hinting at the layers with stuff like the photography murder video game in chapter 2, Chiaki being like a protective program. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional again. Her being like a protective program to help the kids, and being like her personality being the ultimate gamer. Oh my god. Like, okay, I guess the autistic character being a robot isn't huge progress, but I'm just glad that the autistic character is anything besides the murderous evil haha you fell for it mastermind. She's like a manic pixie dream girl. She's like hot for no reason. They bothered to show in the detail that she's extremely fucking hot during the swimsuit scene in chapter 2. But like, that's just like, who cares? That's like the 7th most interesting thing about this character, or like the 29th most interesting thing about this character. She's so charming. She has such good expressions. She has such a good design. She is such like a cute Rina Tenoji, like quiet gamer. I am pissed actually. Like, I literally have to revisit this game with this knowledge and just enjoy it so much more. Because from day one, I remember seeing her like playing her Atari in the living room or whatever in the lobby and being like, ooh, this bitch, she seems so cute and interesting, but she's gonna get us. And like, I can fuck with a villain, but like, there wasn't any villain fuckery to enjoy because she wasn't doing anything evil, and I wasn't like engaging with her as a villain. I was just getting suckered in, expecting to get punched in the face, and then I didn't. And then everything about Monomi makes so much more sense now. They're literally just here to help. They weren't kidding. They literally. I'm so happy. I really did think that when the prediction spoiler stuff all came to a head during Ibuki's death, that like I said, I wasn't wrong about, or it was true. It was true, and her being the mastermind was the misinformation. No, oh my god. They were like, oh, here comes the real mastermind, and then they drop the fucking 11th hour old man thing. I don't even know if I'm gonna talk about that. I just want to get my emotions out. I'm gonna come back and do a better like wrap up for this with my final, well, until Super Danganronpa Diaries 2x2 final favorites ranking. But no, for now I just wanted to oop and goop my impressions and stuff. I have had so many thoughts about Danganronpa 1 recently. I have had so many friends play it. I have had so many conversations about it, and I've been just, kind of enjoying it again after having it settle into my brain for like 3 months after I got super passionate about it. And I did not need the Junko rehash. I really didn't. I'm not the biggest Komayada fan, and I wasn't really looking forward to the evil Chiaki stuff I theorized, but when Junko showed up again, it really did feel like a rehash. And like, as fun as she was, it felt like kind of all of the spectacle, none of the meaning. Because in Danganronpa 1, she's one of your classmates, and she's like the ultimate despair. I guess her sister also is, but the two of them are the ultimate despair. It feels so much more special. Now it's like a dime a dozen. Everyone can be the ultimate despair. Not that that's entirely a bad thing, but it's just, I don't know, like I liked the Komayada freaky hand. I like the fact that like all kinds of people have been idolizing her and trying to like get parts of her body and like put them inside it. That's crazy. That is really freaky. And I think they did a really good job. I am much more interested in the cult of Junko Enoshima than I am like the despair mafia or whatever, the thing from the Kirigiri light novels I've been seeing. Whatever is going on there is whatever. The Junko Enoshima despair cult is pretty cool. But even then, like when it came down to it and it was the surviving cast versus cyber alter ego giantess Junko, I'm like, okay, but so far we've done a really good job like pointing at the rehash and then not doing it. And then Junko like says she's not gonna be the big bad, but that's just to introduce more brain fuckery for Hajime and the gang, who already have so much brain fuckery. Overall, this last chapter and the brain fuckery and like the incredibly intense, incredibly drawn out journey back to reality was very cool. It felt a little bit like an asshole sometimes, but in the end it's like, no, this is really cool. Like, this is the defining moment for the game in some ways. This is where the whole structure comes to a close, and you get your closure about all kinds of things, and you realize how much everybody values their fallen allies again. There's all that stuff I probably would botch if I tried to summarize now, but they really do a good job of building up to the fact that we know the 6 people or the 7 people from DR1, the surviving party, are all watching us. Or at least the big 3 are. The Mirai group is watching us once you realize who they are after doing the extremely, extremely atmospheric adventure through the glitchy hellscape Hope's Peak Academy section. You realize, and they bring in the fact that Makoto is trying to contact you. And this was hype moments in Aura on its own, because I was really nervous about discovering that Makoto became Komaeda. And I will admit that right now I feel like I'm missing something with Komaeda. Like there's all this intrigue and then just nothing happened. Because after he died, he appeared so much in the hallucinations, and there was the memory of him on the boat, and that was so interesting. And I genuinely would have taken him replacing Giantess Junko at some point and just have a giant yell it out battle with Komaeda instead. Like I do feel like I was missing something there. It felt like where I left off last night. It felt like oh, you thought you were done with Komaeda, but now enter Komaeda world. But no, it was kind of just the beginning of the glitch part. Anyhow, they do bring in the big three, and the big three are a big part of tonight. The actual like finale and stuff. And my first impression was, oh my god, it's them! Wojak pointing. Thing Danganronpa 1, I suppose. I immediately gained so much fondness for Togami. I feel like as much as I keep saying I'm kind of not interested in the overarching narrative, this was one moment where I was very, very happy because I didn't know about Makoto's whereabouts. There was part of me that was worried Kirigiri would die between games. That is on record. At some point I realized that was not going to happen. I think I got spoiled on her being in V3 with Aoi, which is a shame. All of V3 is just gonna get spoiled at this point. I don't even fucking care. I don't know. It's a shame for the Danganronpa Diaries series, but I've got 2x2 coming. I can talk big while I can. Anyhow, I was happy for both of them, but seeing Togami come, on one hand, I was grumbling because I keep telling my friends, he's not a trio with them. Like, he's just the most important character besides the main two. He has no dynamic with Kirigiri. They have like 2 good lines. They're not a trio in my mind after playing. Like, no. But the fact that he is at least, I guess there's a little bit of a tsundere, like, I guess I have to deal with you all. But he is still spending time with them, and that is like a really nice 11th hour change up for him, I suppose, as a guy who is Togami and did time in the -2s as I just simply hated him while I was playing. The fact that he has been humbled enough to work with them, the fact that he does care about solving the world crisis thing, the poly crisis or whatever they call it these days. And I don't know, like the whole last scion thing, the fact that he is the last of his family and he's choosing to do this, it was very endearing, and he is much more humble. Like, he's still himself, but he's more like Makoto's asshole rival, you know, like the Gary Oak sort of, which is much cuter than who he spends most of DR1 being. So I warmed up to him a lot more seeing him in the meta, the overarching narrative. And then they're like, oh, well, we have to deal with the spare event worldwide. And I'm like, I don't care. Even though the whole thing is that apparently DR2 doesn't even mean that much in the scheme of things. They did a really good job in the 11th hour explaining why the kids were here. And I really gave a shit. It's a bit of an ass pull, but this digital world is a therapy world. It's a therapy program, which is so compelling immediately. Like, holy shit. Manumi literally was just taking them on a therapy thing. And why do they need this experimental new therapy program that's being made by Alter Ego themselves and some other, like, graduates from Hope's Peak? It's because something happened. I believe they were called the 15 survivors of Hope's Peak, implying like there was some terrible tragedy and a lot of them died. Hajime had his own tragedy. We learned that there were thousands of students in the like spare student program thing, and Junko had 2,000 of them kill themselves, and Hajime was the only survivor of that. So Hajime gets a lot of lore at the last couple chapters. That was surprising. Hajime boy has a lot going on. But the point of all this is the 15 kids we have here, plus Chiaki, who is frankly unrelated. She's just part of the therapy world. They are all the ultimate despair. I thought about it a few times, like, oh my god, what if Kuzuryu is hiding the fact that he's the ultimate despair because he's from the despair mafia or whatever? Like, what if I was wrong? It's not Chiaki, it's fucking Sonya's the ultimate despair. Whoa. Because after Mikon snaps, boy, I want to get back to that now somehow. After Mikon snaps, Komaeda's like, huh, you must be the ultimate despair. I don't even know how he would know that because he didn't even see the book about the ultimate despairs yet, but they're all the ultimate despair. They all have so much despair. And then at that point it's kind of like, okay, whatever. Pause, stop the series there. There can only be one ultimate despair. Like, what are you talking about? But the point is that they're all like at the point of breaking, and it's like, holy shit, like they're gonna kill people because they're all just so destroyed. So we don't see like the time skip designs that exist. We don't know much about else what happened, I don't think, in the game at least. And then we're seeing them with their memories of the last 2 or 3 years erased. And the people we know them as are avatars based on them right when they started high school. So we're experiencing like a slightly younger, more innocent version of all of these characters. I do think like seeing timescape designs in a little bit of like the darker tone would have done a lot, but at the same time, it seems like there's a philosophy of not showing you a lot of things about the larger overarching narrative, which might be for the best. Like they do just cut to white and then credits in Danganronpa 1 mostly. But there's this idea that these are innocent, mind washed, kind of like second chance versions of 15 kids who you never could have guessed all have this stuff going on, but they were just Hope's Peak Academy kids who got dragged into another awful thing, and they were all at the brink of becoming ultimate despairs like Junko. And that's why they decided to try out the therapy world. But the virus got in, the Junko virus. They bring an alter ego, and the atmosphere is unbelievably good. I That's why I came on to record. Like the atmosphere was so good, and they were the first DR1 character we talked to, and it was amazing. And the information they relayed was amazing. That was like one of the absolute peaks of the chapter. But even that was just foreshadowing that another person, because again, people are so obsessed with Junko that they put her eyeball in their face, replace their eyes with her corpse eyes and shit, whatever. Somebody made an alter ego AI for Junko. So we're fighting Junko AI, who has been propagating and found her way in here and was going to basically set something up where, as Monokuma was Junko AI. So we're doing that again. We're doing Monokuma as Junko again. It's just this time it all works via the fact that it's a computer program, which did get very cool by the end when they had like magical billions of Monokumas, and then he's like, "Oh, the plushies do turn into me. It's magic." And then Soda's like, "What do you mean? We have magic now?" And they don't follow that up, and then by the next morning, basically, it's never mind. The simulation is falling apart. That was really well done. Yeah, we're doing Junko controlling Monokuma again, except now it's a computer virus, essentially. It's fine, I guess. It worked. There were a lot of moments where I'm like, this just feels like a knockoff. This almost feels like a direct to DVD sequel, where you just take familiar elements and remix them, but I was hooked. I was really hooked by the therapy island on its own, and the fact that the survivors had to make these choices where, like, based on their choice of what to do and who they trust about how to reawaken to reality, they could either, like, overwrite their memories, they could either go back to their past selves and lose all the progress they made getting hope back in their hearts and revert to becoming ultimate despairs again. I don't know, they could be trapped inside the therapy world forever, essentially. And it was really intense, and they had to figure out like what was true, what the stakes were, what they believed. There were times where Junko lied and said that she could revive the people, because the kids who died in the game did die in real life, essentially. And there was a time where Junko was lying about being able to change that, but her plot was actually to kill a bunch of the kids, and then when they re-upload the consciousness or whatever to the bodies, replace their consciousness with hers, because there is a potential to brainwash through this software. So she was attempting to make a bunch of Junko clones, and her plan was to make like Junko World. It's like whatever. That's Dr. Eggman shit. She was on Dr. Eggman shit. Like, I guess it's okay to have a repetitive villain. She is so fun. But, like, I really was begging for Komayeda. I would have much preferred. There was a moment where I thought that it was going to be Nanami, and I almost wanted it to be just to have something new. But no, she appears like a battlefield angel after she's already been executed. And just is nothing but good. And even Monomi comes back because in the end the kids decide to like they get filled up with hope in their hearts because Nanami inspires Hajime and they're all like falling apart because there's no easy answer, and then they all get hopped up on hope and they're like, fuck it, I'm sick of thinking, and they just slam all of the buttons. Like they all form this resolution together. They just slam the buttons, the simulation breaks, Monomi somehow comes back and kills Junko, and it's just like, fuck it. Which I kind of enjoyed in the moment. It was stupid, but I literally got to the point of Togami is here to talk about philosophy with Junko for 3 hours. I'm ready to leave. It was gripping, but I was like, I can't believe this is so long again. Like, you go to the Junko dimension at the end of these games. I don't know if you do in V3 though. I don't know if I care at the moment because I want to replay this and I want to play 2x2 because not only is it going to be fun to see the new victims and stuff, but what's going to happen with the simulation? What's going to happen with the end game? Maybe I should play V3 to understand that, but I somehow don't think I will. Like, please don't pull something from the future plot or whatever. I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just very happy. And it's hard to even say that I like it more than one. Like, it's blatantly a better game, and I have more characters I love, but one is just, it's been on my mind lately. They were both such good experiences. I love it. I love the balance of tones. I love the stupidity. I love the subculture. I love the gamer, the ultimate gamer, and her Akihabara Aki in her name. And I love the 2012 scene girl, who's actually a Japanese K-On club member, and all this cool shit. It's has been wonderful. I love the humor, mostly. I love the character designs. I love the atmosphere of both games. I mean, man, it's not just tropical. It's a simulated therapy world that glitches out and ends up with like a crazy cyber hellscape finale. So fun. Man, the ultimate killing games right there. The ultimate PS Vita games right there. Oh, I'm probably going to think about Chiaki and Monomi like 7 times before I get back to finishing this video. Good evening. You're listening to the Melovanium always. And, as always, I am talking about Danganronpa 2. Only it isn't going to be forever anymore, is it? It really isn't. It's been 2 days, sort of. It's almost been 2 days since I beat the game, and I recorded all of that at midnight. And there's not actually a lot that I feel the need to go back and summarize now that I'm more sober, but I've been talking to that new Danganronpa friend a good bit, and she helps me understand some things that I was iffy on. Just about all for the positive, except for one absolutely terrible realization, or absolutely terrible discovery, that I will summarize in basically one big segment here before I do my final favorite ranking and kind of say goodbye to all the characters and reflect on my first impressions with them. So basically, this is Chiaki Nanami, and Melovania community, I implore you to cherish her and treat her like you would one of your beloved objects. She's just a really good character, and she really embodies all of the really sweet stuff about this game that has been constantly on my mind for the last 2 days, especially compared to Danganronpa 1. And especially compared to what the fuck they tried to do with this game, and my general just like confusion at the larger stuff with the series, I was throwing strays at V3, especially when I came fresh out of 2, just because I got the vibe that I got the vibe that it was going to do some damage to what I liked about 1 and 2, and for me, things left on such a really, really good note that I didn't want it touched, and I still feel that way. But it's actually not V3's fault. Apparently, like, there might be some ways that it messes with the rest of the series, but the real problem is the Danganronpa 3 anime. Not the Danganronpa V3 anime. Danganronpa 3 anime isn't about V3. It's about 1 and 2. It's supposed to be a resolution to the story of the kids at Hope's Peak, which is not a focus of V3. V3 it's a separate thing. V3 is much more removed from 1 and 2. So within the trilogy, 1 and 2 are kind of their own thing, which is crazy. So, I kept saying over and over again, like, I don't need this fucked with. I do not care about the overarching, like, war against terror or whatever. I don't care about the, like, war against despair or whatever, like the cataclysmic despair event. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm just into this, and it seems like I'm not the only person who kind of is mainly focused on the story of these two. Of course, it doesn't really change the fact that people still seem to really like V3, but this is one story, and it tried to have a really nice ending here that leaves a lot of important stuff up to your imagination, and then they made the anime to try and make that more concrete. So the stuff about the fallen allies and everything. After the surviving cast wake up, after they smash the thing and they just kind of come to life, they don't go back to their despair selves. They don't overwrite. Yeah, okay, so it kind of all blurs together for me now, but there was one situation where they take their selves from inside the simulation. They overwrite their old selves with this version of themselves, which might have some issues if it weren't for the fact that all of their old selves were the ultimate despair. However, if they did this, Junko alter ego would win, because in that situation, she could overwrite the personalities of the dead kids to be her, which sounds weird. I guess, they're in a coma. So yeah, the bodies aren't dead. The bodies of the kids who died, they're not dead. They're in a coma. The issue is that because they felt the simulated experience of dying, it knocked them into the state. For some reason, if Junko alter ego was overwritten to that memory, for some reason it would undo the effect, or she's theorizing that it would undo the effect of dying and she would be able to use their bodies as Junko clones. So that took away that possibility from us. The other option would be deleting everything that happened here and just waking up as if nothing changed. And if they did that, they would all just wake up as the ultimate despair again, and that would be very bad, because that's a lot of ultimate despairs. In the end, they followed the power of friendship and hope, especially hope, and they got their... They did the overwrite, but they beat Junko. I guess in the end they did just do terminating the program. Okay, I know Junko did a diagram, but I forget how this shit works, and it doesn't overly matter. But I think they overwrote they did like the system shutdown. There was technically a third option, but the system shutdown I think would have killed them or I don't fucking remember which was with. Hands in the air, I don't remember which was which. But clearly they kept their memories from the island. They came back with, I think, still their memories of their despair selves, but the hope from the island cleansed their hearts or whatever, or something like that. So if they were to find a way to revive their comatose friends, I believe it is currently, theoretically, canon that they would get their selves from the game in there, which in some cases would have enough hope to overwrite the despair. But in other cases, would cause people like Teru and Mahiru, who did not harvest that much hope, who died really early, to frankly just come out as the ultimate despair again. And this is one of this is kind of part of what I really like about this game is I called it an ass pull, but in reality this is what it was all built upon. It just felt like an ass pull. The thing is, they showed us an example of what would happen if we woke up and became our old selves. They showed us an example very clearly, and I didn't recognize it for that until like 30 minutes ago when it hit me all at once, because it's a very abstract thing to have the world go to hell. It's a very abstract thing for everybody to just become Junko. But what's not abstract is what happened to Mikan. I thought that Mikan was a shit-ass character because she came back to, she remembered her old self, and she immediately went insane on a killing streak. Frankly, a very gratuitous, disturbing killing streak. She went completely crazy. She orchestrated the super disturbing, elaborate, personally targeted execution on Ibuki and slaughtered Hiyoko like it was nothing, which was so freaky. But in the moment, I was just like, oh, she's just being quirky, silly. But I mentioned it earlier in this video, Komaeda said, oh, are you the ultimate despair? It didn't seem like there should be any reason he would know about that, but he was completely fucking spot on. That was Mikan as the ultimate despair. That could have been anybody. Like, of course Mikan is very unstable. Of course Mikan had, like, the person she wanted to get back to who was dead. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But all that happened was despair syndrome caused 3 kind of whatever things in Akane, Ibuki, and Komaeda, but when she caught despair syndrome as the nurse, it gave her her memories back, which is part of this thing I was just talking about with like the termination of the program. She basically got the opportunity to bring her island memories straight into her old memories, and there was not enough hope in that bitch to fix her heart. So whether it was her, whether it was Ibuki, whether it was fucking Tugami, whoever got that illness, whoever got their memories back, those memories and their personality from before this game are so contaminated with despair that they would become as fucked up as Mikan was. Mikan just had the extra layer of like loving the person who was super despairful in her life, which I will talk about in about 2 seconds, but no, that made me appreciate the game a lot more. They took chapter 3 not to throw like a random like, oh, she's a funny yandere, but it showed us the stakes of the game. That could have been anybody. It could still be anybody in 2x2. Like that is an active factor. Then we get to stuff that I didn't fully grasp when I was listening to it, but Junko called all of the DR2 characters her senpai, Tachi, her upperclassmen, so they are older than the cast of DR1, but she also called them the 15 survivors of despair or something, or the 15 survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, maybe? I asked my friend a few times and she didn't directly clarify whether Junko fucking murdered all of their classmates, but I think she did. Or maybe just everybody in the school died during the Great Despair event thing. However, these 15 kids survived because, and this is getting into anime canon, but I think it was said by her, she caused them all to become ultimate despairs. And in the game, I thought this was just her like killing all their classmates or something, which would be based and would make them go kind of crazy. But apparently, the Danganronpa 3 anime takes things like this and takes things like Hajime and the gang trying to revive their friends and shows you what actually happened. It was just done so badly and distastefully and in disservice to the game that I personally literally cannot accept it as canon. Just kind of like one possible way that it may have happened. I'm okay with the general gist that like, yes, Junko specifically, as things were going to hell, like tortured these kids and got them to be full of despair like her. That's compelling, that's fine. The way she did it was so fucky and so strange, and they added in the fact that now all of a sudden Chiaki was a real person and she was a super duper good girl that then had like, you know, with basically all of Chiaki's personality, who was like an awkward gamer girl and like so shy and shit like that, who did like this really good thing to stop this really bad thing that I genuinely can't process as canon because it is such wild character assassination. But they torture like theoretical real Chiaki in this like torture labyrinth for a whole episode and then murder her in a super like disturbing gratuitous way to make her like this super duper martyr. And then when they're creating, like, I mean, why would the fucking Mirai group even know about? I don't fucking know. Because, like, there's some things where, oh, the person who made Alter Ego Junko is a character in this. But then why would the people making the simulation know Nanami enough to, like, create her as this, like, savior character the way that she should have been? Because she was this martyr, like, goody two shoes, whatever, in this anime canon, and she was a person. And then Nanami, you know, not Alter Ego, but the Nanami program, sorry, the Chiaki Nanami program was really similar. It's just stupid to me. That part is just stupid to me, because even if you do create a human Nanami, this Chiaki Nanami still is kind of doing her own thing. She's still a program, and apparently, like, the way that they made her in real life, she was way less charming. She didn't really have, like, that spark, that weird nebulous spark that makes Chiaki as good as she is. So to me, it's like, sure, I can honestly get on board with there being some person that inspired Chiaki, but Chiaki the illusion, Chiaki the computer program, Chiaki the character that is just as real as Monomi, is real no matter what. Like, she is her own thing no matter what. She is alive in her own way. But for them to have this whole ass pull of, like, oh, we got to know Chiaki even though she wasn't real, but she was real in our hearts, and they'll make up and be like, oh, no, she was real. It was nothing. It was whatever. And I think worse of all is that apparently what I just said about Mikan isn't true in the anime timeline, and the reasoning is so vague. I guess they level up their power of friendship so much that they're able to survive this bullshit killing game that doesn't even get anybody killed. Or maybe it's just the cast of Danganronpa 1 that has to do it, because they have their own stupid subplot that means nothing, where Naegi's being put on trial for what happened with the therapy island, and that's just stupid. But in the end, every single one of the DR2 deaths get revived, and none of them have any trace of the ultimate despair. It's just like power of friendship. Look at all of your favorite characters thriving and having a good time. I really can't accept that. Not after seeing Mikan. Not after seeing what happened to Mikan, awakening to the despair that was in her halfway through before the program really saw its way through. I think you need to have that layer of tragedy, and also, like, the fact that, like, the entire Junko virus was meaningless. Like, of course, like, in my heart, I want to believe that the kids can find a way to revive their friends, but, like, this means that bonding with Chiaki as though she were real when she wasn't doesn't matter, because she was real and all these kids loved her. It means that cleansing the despair in the hearts of everybody in the simulation doesn't really matter, because if they try hard enough, they can just kind of cleanse it anyhow. I don't know, I'm getting a little bit confused with that. Maybe it's not as bad as I think, but, like, I don't know, I don't want the kids to die, but I also think that the fact that they are all the ultimate despair and comatose is way more compelling. Or the ultimate despair in, like, a therapy art program thing to heal them is so fucking compelling, because just that's kind of the point of the game to me now. Like, that's why this killing game takes place in, like, the fresh open air versus a claustrophobic school. The whole aesthetic really comes together and becomes so much more. Like, I don't know, psychedelic stuff and reality breaking stuff is cool and hashtag funky fresh, but to have the whole world be fake and have it come apart at the seams, it's really cool. And to have your dreaming self and your waking self be a little bit at odds is really cool. And as much as it was a super long, drawn out, insane thing to be talking to Junko about the philosophy of turning off the program for 4 hours, it was worth it. Like, this is the stakes, and the stakes are so awesome when they're as personal as everybody turning into Mikan. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. When I say it out loud, I like the idea of everybody getting healed and happily ever after, but it does feel really cheap, because, like, I don't know, the hope that they were given as they were breaking out, like, it feels like that's what that's what sealed the thing. Because, like, it was a joke at the beginning. A lot of stuff about Monomi was a joke at the beginning. But to collect the, like, Kibo no Kakira or whatever, the shards of hope or whatever, like, that's, like, they had to actually go to the island and experience something to get the hope back in their hearts. And, you know, things got so messed up by Junko virus that these characters, the surviving cast, they didn't really get enough hope to break the despair in them until they were in the final stretch. And I'd like to believe that that was pretty precarious. Like, I don't know, I kind of want to send Teru to the damnation of knowing that if he ever left his comatose, he would become a tiny, fucked up, insane chef that wants to kill everybody. Like, those are the stakes that we're playing with. I don't want those to go away just because they wanted to make a fan service anime, you know? That's just so stupid to me. It's dark and it's sad, but that is what we're playing with. So I'm kind of repeating myself at that point, but basically... yeah, it can't really be an anime about healing. It can't be a story, or not an anime. It can't be a game about healing and therapy if you don't have the right stakes, if the kids aren't all sick. And it is really cool to know that there is just this side story that almost never got told about the senpai of Junko at Hope's Peak. I called her Dr. Eggman. It does feel like Dr. Eggman, Bowser, Dr. Wily, like she's up to her old tricks again. But I can kind of buy it. I can buy it just enough. Like, sure, like, why wouldn't there be a darker story about Hope's Peak? Like, a lot of shit happened. It's not as personal as Danganronpa 1, but, yeah. I love Therapy Island. I love Monomi and Chiaki. I love that I didn't know if I could trust them or not till the very end. And it is so funny going back and assessing things. Like, just these memories of her playing her video games in the lodge and shit, me being like, oh, you're so fucking evil. The art on the little notebook here where she has like her 3DS, a fake version from 2012, her GameCube and her like Y box and shit like that. I'm like, these are evil video game consoles. These are the evil fucked up video game consoles of somebody who wants to like trick me and get me and lure me in. No, she's just really based. And she's a gamer, because it's a metaphor for the game that we're playing, and it's good. I did articulate that at midnight. I did manage to say that, so I don't really have much more to say now. But yeah, that anime is just so weird to me. I can't, like, I'm okay with something similar happening, and no, I don't know. It's weird. I vastly prefer the vague ending. Yeah, goodbye despair. I mean, yeah, it left me feeling so hopeful, even though it's so dark, and that's very effective. But yeah. Oh yeah, Hajime got experimented on and had his own thing going on. I frankly do not understand the Komaeda timeline thing. I don't get why. I understand now why he wanted to like meet and like, I don't know, kill again. I understand why he was obsessed with Junko now if he was tortured by her, sure, but I don't know. I feel like Hajime was experimented on. I fucking for real cannot tell you who experimented on him right now. That thing was so lost on me. I know he's like super duper duper evil or whatever, but didn't they put in the brain cells of like the first Ultimate Hope, the founder of Hope's Peak Academy? What? Is it because they took the founder of Hope's Peak and then they made him see all 2,000 of his classmates die? And then Junko tortured him more probably? Like, is that why he was so full of despair? I got the impression he was like a despair atom bomb full of crazy, super powerful despair, and that's why Komaeda was talking to him on the boat and why Junko likes him so much. Like, I don't know, I half understand it, but it's just kind of whatever, because the new Hajime personality, or the old Hajime personality, the Hajime personality that we like, won out. I don't know, at the moment that plot point has been so diluted that it just kind of feels like another version of the ultimate despair thing. Maybe we didn't need that, but he does look funny with his wig, doesn't he? It is graduation time again. Oh, man, it hit me that, like, I've been spoiled on, one execution in V3, which means that there's, like, maximum 6, maybe only 5 executions left in the series that I don't know. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. Like, I have already had so much of my Danganronpa adventure, It went by so fast because of Golden Week binge. Man, I might never do this again. I really am eventually going to get so hungry that I do this again for a V3. But, whatever. Hajime. So I mentioned Hajime had his thing with he was experimented on, and that is kind of interesting, but it's mostly just a part of the whole awakening to despair kind of thing. I am more interested in the fact that the way that Junko got to him was, again, I do not know who was allowing this, but there were 2,000 kids in the spare student program or whatever. A weird concept I don't fully grasp. And they were just kind of used for experimentation enough that it was okay for them to all be made to kill themselves once Junko got crazy. Hajime is the last surviving stormtrooper. They weren't clones, but just to have been a part of a group that big. It's a whole mini ethnicity. The Hope Speak Academy undergrad spare reserve student population of Tokyo City, 2,000 people. They all fucking die. And the poor guy has so much going on, he's a pretty straightforward dude in the game. I feel like him and Makoto he's only characterized to me by being a little bit more tough and, self-assured than Makoto, which is funny because then it makes Makoto feel like he has more personality by being a little softy, but then that in turn makes Hajime make him feel like he has more personality. At this point, I don't know who I like better, but I like them both, and probably equally for different reasons. Makoto is more like a plushie that as soon as I look at him, I get the appeal. Hajime is a very contextual character, though when I think about it for a minute, I get very sad, and I do like his design, but maybe a little bit less. I don't know, they're different appeals. One says Ore, one says Boku. What more can you say? I brought Komaeda down to a 5 and kept him there, and that's not that I don't like him. I just think that the amount that I like him and hate him is equaling out. I feel like I'm betraying my sisters when I say this, but when 2x2 comes out, it's okay if Chiaki isn't a part of the story for a while. She had her game. She had her run. If we mess with things and pick up a new big plot, if the simulation breaks down early or certain secrets get revealed early, I am currently feeling okay with it becoming more of a Komaeda game, because it was a grand finale having him go out in chapter 5, but he was a lot more interesting than Junko, and I don't know if I'm the only person that feels that way. I mean, seriously, getting flashed with the fact that one of your other students was already kind of crazy. Again, already crazy because we're using these personalities and memories from before they even started high school. He was already obsessed with his classmates and so far gone. I've seen the thing about Kodaka saying he has dementia. I have no idea what he means by that. My grandmother had dementia. It's just I don't even fucking know what that means. But using what's here, he's funny and strange, and he was already obsessed with Junko. And if he got his memories back, that would just be so strange. The way that he was able to turn from idolizing everybody to wanting to maybe kill literally everybody, and just the way that he jumped around things was so interesting. The way that he's invested in ultimate despairs and ultimate hopes, despite frankly knowing nothing, is so interesting with the premise of this game. And the fact that one of the last things we saw was a hallucination that he somehow sent the 11037 password out in the hallucination world collapse thing. And when I was playing it, I'm this didn't really happen. Wait, no, this absolutely did really happen now that I'm looking back at it. How did he escape the code like that? How did he do so intentionally? And as he was fading away, he's please call me the ultimate hope. What the fuck? And worst of all, it's never confirmed why he's the same as Makoto, which gives me chills. Same voice actor, the names are an anagram of each other, same fucking green hoodie design, almost the same hair. But their birthdays are different, and they're different people. I was so excited to be saved from the despair of seeing the reveal that Makoto was Komaeda. Once I realized that we had avatars, I was thinking that Komaeda was the distorted avatar of Makoto, and once I saw that Makoto left the future organization, I was oh, well, maybe he became Komaeda. Like that makes sense. I would have bought into that. I was so happy to see Makoto alive, but to be honest, and I gotta try to forget the anime. Picturing him on trial for what happened with the therapy island in the anime, it sounds so boring. It's so boring compared to him becoming Komaeda that like I almost wish he did become Komaeda. But if I forget the anime, no, he's so cute and he's his own thing. And I'm happy that the big three and the surviving party stayed together, Makoto. But at the same time, what the fuck? Maybe it's more fun that there's no connection. I don't even think that's what they would do if they tried to do more of a Komaeda themed game, but they've been doing plenty of marketing in the trailers for Komaeda. And like I at least thought we were going to get more about him being like a viable protagonist. And he mentioned not Shujinko, like I'm going to be the protagonist, but he said Shuyaku. He said like I would be a better fit for the leading role than Hajime. And of course like he was getting really obsessed with Hajime and hated his ass by the end, but I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy that we shifted to playing as him just to do the super dead end killing game room. I mean, okay, I guess this is important because he got the book, but to me it was less that like it was interesting to see what he was doing, but I was more interested by the fact that like Deltarune style, he could be a recipient for the player. Like, I don't know. I thought we were going to go to a full dual protagonist breakdown at some point, and I wonder if that could be 2x2, because that would also fit with the name, you know? It would be, you know, the second Danganronpa 2, the fourth Danganronpa, but also 2 views on Danganronpa. What if we just start the game as Komaeda? I don't know. I would miss Hajime, but if they made Hajime like glitchier and edgier and stuff like that, then that might be cool. I don't know. I'm still not like the biggest fan of his visual design or anything. I can't believe I am that invested in both Komaeda and Sans specifically. I just made the Deltarune comparison too. Oh, fuck my stupid ass baka little fungus life, whatever. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Komaeda fan, but I did really enjoy it. And looking back on everything, looking back on his epic fucking death, he was a great character. You can't deny it. I hesitated with Big 3 Togami. No hesitation with Big 3 Komaeda. They really know how to make green characters in this series. So next we have Ibuki, and I won't be that cutesy patootsy about it. Like, okay, I won't be that direct either. I can't handle being that direct right now, but yeah, she's a great character. I she's probably already one of my favorite characters of all time. And there's some moments where I'm like, whoa, slow down, sister. That's a crazy leap. But she really just aligns with me on such a deep personal level. I'm so glad I played in Japanese to see her funny, punny jokes and shit. I just felt I resonated so hard with this character. And I honestly, genuinely, really do want her to get a little bit more intrigue in 2x2. She did not have an arc. She's currently like top 3 in my list of people, like my draft for surviving party or for characters I want to see. And it's not just I love Ibuki and I want to see her survive, but if we're playing by the standards of this game, then a character like her should have a little bit more arc and a little bit more going on. So yeah, it is really interesting. I mentioned how I changed how I view Mikan's death. Mikan's murder case, basically, where it wasn't quite that random. Like, she was awakened to the ultimate despair. So she was full of enough despair to, like, actually kind of mean it when she made Ibuki's death that disturbing. Like, Ibuki's death is kind of the most disturbing one I can think of right now. I mean, you know, suicide is sad, so Sakura's suicide is really sad. Mahiru is very sad, very, very surprising, mostly from timing in the game. But if that happened in Chapter 5, I wouldn't bat a fucking eye. I mean, okay, maybe Chapter 5 is saved for more important characters, but if the beach house bat happened in Chapter 4, I don't fucking care. Togami getting skewered, I don't fucking care. Saionji getting tied up, I don't fucking care. Okay, Nekomaru dying, like that's a very fun and creative death. It's very, very sad, but it's not like disturbing. Having Ibuki, giving the impression that Ibuki hung herself on the live house stage, like the day or whatever, a couple days after she performed there. Okay, no, it would have been like a week after she performed there, but the fact that the fucking supermarket duo from like when you first go into the supermarket, Mikan and Ibuki are there. The fact that she made it look like Ibuki hung herself on stage and floated like a specter is so fucked up. It's so fucked up. Sayaka getting stabbed. Very, very unpleasant, chapter 1, because you're such good friends with her. Chihiro getting strung up in the girls' room is very freaky, but a lot of that comes from, like, how you project your own gender stuff onto it. It is a very sad and disturbing thing. I guess people being hung up is just kind of scary generally. There's nothing disturbing about Robo Justice. So I already mentioned Sakura. Kirigiri theoretically getting stabbed was pretty freaky in the Monokuma flower room. But no, Ibuki's death really is scary, and the way that they present it is really scary. I am lucky that I immediately understood that this was some kind of trickery, because if I was younger or if I saw that like straight on, that would have really messed me up. But no, I gotta go back. I gotta dig back through the Ibuki chapters and enjoy them, because, oh my god. I should have known she was gonna die, because they were just enjoying the hell out of her. She really ate it up every scene she was there. Ah, oh, she is such a good character. So Soda. So Soda, I ended up giving just a little bit more juice to get to 8.25, but he did nothing to earn it. A lot of things is just a little bit of inflation with the characters that made it really far, just because my heart has been so warm about the ending, basically. Soda did everything in his power to snatch defeat from the arms of victory. I started on a great note with him, where I love his design. His design might be one of my favorite designs of any of the characters. Like, he's up here competing with Celeste, I would say. When I saw that I gave Celeste like a 8.95 or whatever in Danganronpa Series 1, I'm like, okay, he doesn't have to stay at 8. But when I was really picking through some of my surprise favorite characters from like the surviving gang in Big 3, I was like, basically when I was sorting through my top 5 characters, I'm like, Soda 8. So Soda did nothing. Fucking Sonya, Soda, Sonoichi is so bad. It's so annoying. It overstayed its welcome for so long. But if you cut it off earlier, the first couple conversations were adorable. In Japanese, he was so cute and funny, trying to like explain terms for her. She wasn't reciprocating, but you know, it was the first like 3 times they talked. Like they're basically just meeting each other at that point. It fell off a fucking cliff, and apparently Kodaka needs to torment us with the most unbearable, unreciprocated MF ever with Toko and Togami, and then fucking Sonya and Soda. Unbearably annoying. He didn't even stop after Tanaka died. It's so fucking annoying. They gave him nothing to do. I thought he would be a huge player, like fixing a plane to help them escape or something. No. We went to the cool dystopia mechanical world, like, oh, he's gonna do something. Nuh-uh. He literally peaked fixing the elevator so that Tanaka Gundam could kill a guy and save his girlfriend. And basically cuck him and just steal whatever he thought he had with Sonya from him. Like, he literally peaked fixing the fucking elevator. I just think Kodaka needs to have pathetic men around. But in front of the eyes of gods and men, I don't really care. He's funny. He's not even that funny. The thing that really damns him to hell is that he wasn't even a good friend. That's why I was debating bringing his score down even further. His writing was a travesty. Because if he was at least our friend, like I felt like we were friends during the diner scene, another great Ibuki moment, it would have been one thing. But he was so distrustful of Hajime, and we were catching strays from him the entire time. He was one of the only people that was this distrustful, and that gave him something to do, I guess, compared to Sonya, who didn't even want to believe that there could be a backstabber. But, no, the fact that we weren't even that friendly with him in the end, that really sucks. Honestly, make us better friends and then kill him in 2x2, and my little Soda-loving soul can go to heaven. But I have seen the funniest images of like plushy Soda and Gundam shipping and stuff, and it's like, maybe the source material doesn't matter. So cute. Okay, Mikan caught a little bit of redemption points just because I was looking at her down at 2. And then I realized that you literally can't judge her based on the person that she was after the sickness. Like, she's not a freaky yandere. She's literally being the patient zero, showing us what could happen to any of us. And she is weird, and she is uncomfortable, and she is awkward. But knowing that the real her was the goofy one, you know, knowing the pure undamaged personality was the goofy one, and like the serious one, who was very cool for a minute, wasn't, and that's like the despair part of her, that changes everything. So I think she is going to be relieved of her crimes and accusations to a degree, and I've been softening up on her. So we may begin a healing journey there. I'd even argue that she didn't have much of an arc, so maybe she could get a little something in 2x2. How are we doing this? I don't know for sure that I like Chiaki as much as I like Soda, but when you look at how much Chiaki means compared to Soda, who means fucking nothing, I, for today, gave them the same points. They're like 8.25 or something like that. I've already gone on. This whole video is just talking about how much I like Chiaki, but oh my god. The morning after I finished everything, I had a bus ride to work, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to play, and I have been trying to reconnect with Kirby Planet Robobot. It's one of my favorite games ever, but it's fallen down to the bottom of my favorite Kirby games just because I haven't enjoyed it as much as Triple Deluxe and Return to Dreamland lately, for the last like 4 years basically. But you know, it's a wonderful game. I just haven't been as into it. And I've also been struggling with Kirby generally ever since I made that Kirby video. I really got a bad taste in my mouth from the comments on that video. It was very unpleasant. But I was like, what is the perfect game? I had my Vita, I had my 3DS. What is the perfect game? And I knew I had to play Kirby Planet Robobot. And just the warmth and the love and the care and just that Kirby energy in all of the cyber stuff, all of the robot stuff, all the soothing pause menu music, that was the game that matched my feelings about Chiaki and Monomi at the end. I'm kind of overcharged by the, whoa, are they good or evil the whole time, but I really was just full of so much love and peace in that moment. And like the only thing I could do to really process my feelings was play the Robobot, and I started silently crying while a much more autistic person in front of me was like making random outbursts and running distraction for me, basically. I was sitting right behind this guy who was like drawing everybody's ire, just like being a little bit unaware of what he was doing in public. So nobody was looking at the guy Kokujin sitting behind him playing her 3DS and like actively really like tearing up. I cried for maybe 10 minutes straight on a bus full of the most like straight-laced, like boring, like almost intentionally competitively dry and boring people in suits going to like the super fancy town hall place that was on the way to my school. I just sat there and cried because I felt so happy and so touched by the combination of like the happy, friendly robot mecha game and the happy, friendly, like fucking heroic caretaker characters of Danganronpa 2. All of Danganronpa 2 had this like nice cyber healing vibe after that night. And yeah, I give you the highest honor I can bestow upon you. Emotional association with Kirby. Gundam technically just stopped at 7, but I was moving him around a lot. I can't quite decide if I like him more or less than Hajime, and it was very hard to decide if I liked him more or less than, who the fuck is... it was very hard to decide whether or not I liked him more than Fuyuhiko, but now you look at this and it's like, clearly I can see where I ended there. I haven't fully processed him either. I talked to that friend and she was like, I think it was strongly implied that both him and Nidai were both agreeing to kill each other to save everybody in that thing. And that makes sense. That does fit the vibe more. It was very like implied, you know, and I wasn't totally sure I could trust it. But his execution was so cute. He is so cute. I opened up Tumblr, and people who love him really like him. I love the almost like Tim Burton-esque design to him, which I know isn't Tim Burton's design. It's probably Henry Selick that made that aesthetic. But I love the round eyes. I love the darkness. In fact, I think his round eyes are one of the best parts of his design to me, because they give this kind of like soft, round cuteness to the very edgy edginess, which perfectly fits him because he's a pretty wholesome character, honestly, which might be a little bit of like a fandom reduction thing to do. He's still like a very cool, badass Chuny who is willing to like, you know, die and kill. He's still edgy, but I love the balance, and he might, I don't know, it might be recency bias. I feel like as a pure concept, like Soda, I like him a lot. For a while, my three were Ibuki, Soda, and him. But Fuyuhiko and Chiaki and I guess a little bit of Hajime catching up, just because of story and character, they kind of caught up. Hiyoko. I have nothing to really say about Saionji Hiyoko. I did like her. I think she was fine. I don't necessarily need a lot more of her next time. I was put off at first, but then especially once she did her character progression, you know, I kind of appreciated her abrasive personality. I thought the time skip design was an amazing plot twist. That was a really clever one. Of course, they probably had grosser ulterior motives for putting a little chibi character in the game, but seeing her suddenly grow up in 2 years was really impactful and funny. That was not even funny, that was like freaky. That made it all feel so real. Again, with the stakes, you could feel the setup here. She's fine. I like her. I definitely like her and Mahiru, you know, not in like a Yuri way necessarily, because like she looks like a 8-year-old, but you know, their vibe. Every time I look at them on the cover of my journal, I'm like, man, I miss when they were both alive. They're nice parts of the cast. And then Fuyuhiko. Slow down, Fuyuhiko. I put him a tiny bit behind Nanami, but they could have been together. And then there's some times where I think he might pass Soda. I gotta chew on it, because he is just such a great character. Such a good design, such a good aesthetic, such a cool concept, such a fun personality. He peaks really hard in chapter 3 for me, where the first time he's back in action and you're kind of staking out in the hospital together, he feels so dependable, so cool, yet like clearly a warm presence. He's just amazing. Him breaking into an execution is super hype moments in aura. Him surviving is amazing. He is great at atoning for what he's done. Like, he is so fucking locked in. The fact that there's an optional where you can catch him crying at Mahiru's like memorial thing is amazing. I really like him. He is definitely one of the best parts of the game. I kept doubting whether he would survive, but like, he is the only character in the surviving party where I'm like, of course you're a surviving party. Everyone else is like, oh, that's actually surprisingly cool that you're still alive. Not Soda. It means nothing that he's alive, but I've resigned myself to it. He could keep growing in my heart, but for now, he's just where he is. He's top 5, easy. Super pleasant surprise. Super pleasant surprise. Okay, everybody from here is a lot of similar tier stuff. I will jump around a little bit. Teru Teru and Peko Peko, they are down there as some characters I'm not that into. I do like them both for different reasons. I like Teru Teru's stupid little design. I don't really care much for his personality, but there's enough there that I'd like to see more content. I've already probably said everything I think about Teru Teru. Peko Peko, like, I'm not quite as fond of. I don't think I've quite clicked with her on like a personal level, but she's really cool, and she is like number 1 pretty much in my roster, like draft predictions for characters I want to see again in 2x2. I'm fully convinced that Fuyuhiko's gonna die and she's gonna have a cool journey, so I'm looking forward to that. But like kind of like Nekomaru, I didn't feel like I had met her by the time she was gone, so yeah, I don't know. I think she could be really interesting. She's almost a bit of a gimmick as it is, but she sure could be really cool, and she's connected to Botchan, so that's nice. Thumbs up. I boosted Togami. I boosted Togami again because one of the first things I did after beating the game was go back and mess around in Chapter 1. And I love the vibe of Chapter 1. I love the dinner party. I love the balance of like a fun whodunit that you can actually solve mixed with the ass pull of Komaeda snapping early. I think it's super duper fun and cool. I like the tension. I like that you know something's going to happen the whole time. I like all the moving parts. I like Peko Peko has the box of knives and Fuyuhiko didn't go, and there's so many like cats to wrangle with all the characters and alibis. I love that everything happens in the dark. I think he's basically just like the Chapter 1 guy, kind of like Leon or Sayaka, I suppose. But what I like about him most is just like when you compare him to Togami, and Hajime says this, the thing that stands out about him is that he's reliable and like he legit seems like a good leader. So like, you know, if you factor out the things that are just Togami role playing, all I know about this guy is he's big and fat and wants to protect people. And that's cool. When I see him, he feels like a big comforting presence, like a Walmart brand paladin, which I've said before. But the more time goes on, the more I'm like, that's pretty rad. If he legitimately gets a little bit of action in 2x2, or he could even get a lot of action if Kodaka or whoever's actually writing this makes the right ass pull and lets him, like, I don't know, do an imposter thing and like pretend to be somebody that he's not for a while and like, oh my god, what do you mean? Akane was dead 3 chapters ago. That could be super fun, but as it is, he is hard to get that excited about, but I am fond of him. He's fine. And then I will knock out Mahiru. Nothing's changed with Mahiru. I don't know. I brought her down at some point just because balancing the economy. She's right up there. It's Peko Peko, Mahiru, and Ibuki are the ones that I am dying to see again in 2x2 because she just got nothing. And I'll say it. I will outright say it. Nothing has been weirder to me than the fact that she's not a Chapter 4 death or something. Nothing. I know that I was wrong, and I'm about to go through all the actual survivors, basically. I know that I was wrong in a lot of my vibes here, but Mahiru just did not give early death. And my friend said that if you do her support conversations, she gives even more of a sense that she could be like your little buddy character, like your Chie on Yukari type character. And she's just not. So it's probably intentional, and because of that, cool. There's a lot that I like about Chapter 2, and it's like, what do you mean she was randomly dragged into the Mafia murder? She's right there in the game, and the whole murder case was about her. Like, sure, but that could have been anybody. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a real reason for her to be the one who dies, but yeah, I'm looking at her right now on my journal. She has such a cute design. She reminds me ragingly of one of my friends, a coworker who I worked with over a year ago. We had a year just goofing off, being teachers, and she's a real inspiration. Like she's a cool lady, and she has such a specific personality that I keep catching just random specific things, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so her. But Mahiru is so her. They have like the same hair and just like the abrasive personality is the abrasive but like super duper feminine personality is just I don't know, the vibe is very specific and I appreciate it. I never thought we would have so little time together. She's probably my number 1 character I want to see more of besides like Ibuki, Stan, Rise Up for 2x2. And then I think maybe possibly we're down to these really funky 3 right here. Yeah, if I forgot anybody, then I am the worst. Akane, Nekomaru-san. Yeah, it's gotta be. Let's finish with Akane, Nekomaru-san. Yeah, the Grape Tower gang. These are definitely 3 characters I like. They're the ones who are being kept out of top 5, I guess with Hajime. I like them. I like them a lot more than I expected to, and I'm sorry. I'm like bowing a little bit right now. I am sorry that I kept saying they were expendable early death characters. They could have been, but they all had little arcs, didn't they? And they all had someone they cared about, and then they fought, and it was really moving. I'll knock out Nekomaru first. Another one where he felt like he was always doing something else with someone else somewhere else. like somewhere else. And I never really felt like I was connecting with him when he was a flesh Nekomaru, and then he died and became Robo Nekomaru. Robo Nekomaru is easily like a top 6 character or something there with Hajime. I love him. He has such a cute design. But the thing is, his really cute personality is just about like being happy to be alive and also being a robot. So it feels weird to give all of my love for this character to his robot version. Like, I am really glad that I was wrong about Akane not liking him. I'm glad she did love him in the end. I wish they got more scenes together, because I don't know, it just always feels like I wasn't seeing enough of them and what their vibe was. I believed that it was there, I just wanted to see it more. Yeah, I can't just boost up his points because of Robomaru. I hate to actually bond with the guy himself more, the original form. And the original form was a lot more mellow, and I just never felt like I connected with him the same way. So I averaged them out to a 6. I could kind of maybe see 2x2 doing a good amount for him again, because I don't know if dying and coming back counts as an arc. Does that count as an arc? I don't know. Like, it was really about Akane's story. And I've now set myself up for the funniest ending possible. Akane first. I gave Akane the edge over Nekomaru and Sonia by 0.5 points, and that was a last-minute choice, but I'll stand by it for sure. Akane is a really cool character. I don't know if I gel enough with her to call her like one of my super faves, but she brings a lot to the game. I learned a lot about characters, seeing how simply having her be herself, having her be a little bit rash, be a little bit dumb, be very like driven by food, and I guess like I don't know, she knows what she wants and she goes for it. The way that she functions is very refreshing, especially as things get more complicated. And one thing that hit me like a bullet was she never stopped being funny and charming. She was able to pull off such a range of jokes, whereas some other characters that may have overstayed their welcome in one kind of just leaned on the same thing constantly. There was never a moment of being tired of like predictability with Akane. Like the way that she whipped out the thing about like, did he cut the rope with his dick? I'm pretty sure that's how it translates. Like, oh, well, what about, oh my god, what about his dick? Did he use his dick? Like, stop mentioning the dick. I love the joke in chapter 4 where it's like, the pillar, we'll get back to that later. And then like half an hour goes by, and then you bring up the pillar, and Akane, like right on the word go, goes, finally, the pillar! I knew it was time to talk about the pillar. She seemed a little bit like I would get tired of her, but in the end, she was really funny. And moreover, just seeing her grapple with grief and seeing her grapple with the stakes and seeing her want to just like make a simple solution and like punch Monokuma's lights out and not be able to, and see her be trapped into a more complicated story, very satisfying. I felt kind of bad, honestly, saying that Fuyuhiko was the most surviving last girl coded character. And I think part of that is because like Akane, like I cannot see the game without her surviving now. She was wonderful. However, now I'm going to be tried at The Hague for my crimes against Gaijin kind for Sonya. All I did was walk up and say that Sonya was gonna die in every single chapter, and she made it the whole time. And I will say, maybe she was a little bit touching on repetitiveness, but nothing compared to Danganronpa 1. This was a fuck-ass squad, maybe intentionally fuck-ass to let the big 3 from 1 take up space with their actual competence at the end, once the big 3 members died in chapter 5 in this game. Maybe they were meant to be kind of like whoever whatevers, but there is something so human about the whoever whatever vibes, and the fact that they all went through shit besides Soda, that combination of things made the surviving party so human and so relatable. And so just like really middle of the road. And that was very cool. And Sonya was a huge part of that. I kept saying she was gonna be a chapter 1 death, and she was not. I used to put her at the same tier as Teru Teru. I really underestimated her, but she was funny. She like had her really, really good little charm hooks, like her flex and her funny interest and shit. And like fundamentally, yes, she's a stereotype of a desirable white woman from some European country, like the ideal foreign bride, kind of. But she does a good job. job with, like, they didn't fall into the trap of making her a Japanophile. That's a big deal. They said she speaks like 30 different languages and she's just like a naturally curious person, which totally sells the whole like super good at Japanese foreigner thing and the like charming airhead thing, but like she's also very smart in her own way. She was really well built to be herself. I don't think I'm like, she's not like top 5 or anything, and it's gonna be okay if she's not there forever in the next game. She's not a big enough presence to me to need her all the time, but she did great, and it was just such a funny feeling underestimating her like that. No, she was cool. I love Sondom. It's so cute. It really lines up with her characterization. Like, they kind of foreshadow that she's going to be into the weirdo 2 chapters early. She's neat. I like that she shuts down Soda, but, yeah, that's a stupid thing overall. She's neat. I like that she wears the wetsuit for no reason in chapter 2. I wonder if she was just avoiding giving Soda what he wanted at that point. I'm sure she was getting wise. And she did have a very good function. I was going to mention the surviving party. Maybe one last note on the surviving party here. They did a really good job foiling each other. Soda was very distrustful. That might be the last thing that he adds to this. Sonia was so trusting that she was idealistic and she like couldn't believe anybody was the betrayer. I feel like Akane and Fuyuhiko were also like incredibly straightforward versus incredibly complicated approaches to things. Like Fuyuhiko could have been the leader in a lot of ways because he is a mafia boss and shit like that. But he always had a very nuanced approach to things. Akane brought a very refreshing straightforwardness. I don't know, like Akane was always very quick to fight things. Soda was the biggest coward. The 4 of them feel like they may have been engineered to be a really good quartet in the end. So I thought they did function very, very well. And then I made notes on how I would make Kirby out of them and the big 4 because I was thinking about Kirby. Akane has the hunger and the go-get-em attitude. Fuyuhiko is round and small and has round cheeks. Sonia is a cryptid and probably omnipotent. Soda is pink. I think I got this. Chiaki has the stoic face. Give that to Kirby. I'm not gonna touch Komaeda and Hajime, I don't think. Well, I could take the protagonist energy and give it to them. Sonia speaks 30 different languages, the way that Kirby has an infinite amount of copy abilities. They're perfect in any situation. And Kirby likes to eat like Akane, which is as good a note as any to leave things off on. Yeah, that's how it ends. Let me pull up the GIMP one last time. Let's take a look at the end right here. So, chapter 1. I was all over Teru being the first killer, and I definitely threw around the idea of Togami dying first. So I would say this fell into my lap. I did get spoiled on Teru being a murderer, but this felt like a really good one for predicting, even though it definitely set your expectations for later, having to make room for insanity. Peko killing Mahiro for complicated reasons, admittedly. I was putting her in this half of the kill order for this game, at least. Did not have Mahiro here. Mahiro was going to be like a spare option for the surviving party, as you know. Saionji dying in chapter 3, that's fair. I'm sure I must have accidentally put that there once or another throughout the course of the series, but Mikan and Ibaki were both like pretty firm locks for surviving party. In fact, I think Mikan was my firmest lock for surviving party, even though that was completely wrong. And in this case, 2 of the most popular characters in the whole game specifically died in chapter 3, which is a crazy improvement on cast over Danganronpa 1. Now, I was all over Gundam dying around chapter 4. I was constantly predicting this, but I couldn't have predicted him being the killer. And the more that I learn about this, the more it sounds like he wasn't that hardened of a killer, so it could have been the other way around. But Nekomaru absolutely overstayed how much I expected him, and seeing him here is a little bit of a shock, though I would say this is something that was in the realm of in my mind for the beginning. Then we have Chiaki killing Komaeda, which just, I surely didn't think it was going to go down with a random bottle throw, but I knew these two would have their fates sealed by this whole endgame. But what is really crazy about this is that neither of them survive. It could have happened, but I mean, I was comparing Chiaki to Junko at that point, not Kirigiri. It's nuts that, like, I have no reservations about them being big three, and they are both dead before the big lore chapter. And in that lore chapter, we have a character I predicted would die the first chapter, a character I was pretty sure was going to kill Mahiro in the second chapter, and also I predicted Sanya would do it. Fuyuhiko, who I thought might have also killed Mahiro. Okay, there were 3 people here that I thought could have killed Mahiro and would have been completely fine with them being executed in chapter 2. Crazy. I did continue to think that they might die at different times, but after a certain point, I think I just understood Akane was going to survive for a long time. To the end, still thought Sanya death was a thing. Guess it was never a thing. And I got spoiled on Soda surviving. Wahoo! I would have gone insane if I didn't know that. But this has been your Super Danganronpa Diaries. I am super tired and very full of peace, and really had an amazing adventure. I re-listened to some of the first series this week to get ready for this, and I love these videos. They're so special. I think I will make a separate playlist and a separate series with basically the same name for 2x2, hoping that I can make good enough episodes while ideally streaming that scenario. We'll see what happens. I'm still fantasizing about this game coming out in the summer. It's like, no, I don't think it's gonna come out in the summer anymore, baby girl. We'll see. Yeah, theoretically there could be Danganronpa Diaries V3, but don't hold your breath, no time soon. And in the meantime, I think I mentioned a little idea I had for a video. I think I'm going to just make a playlist for general Kodaka thoughts or just general Danganronpa thoughts. Probably Danganronpa. 100 Lion, I can't really see myself doing this because, I don't know, with Danganronpa, it's like, it's just been such a fun thing. Preparing my thoughts in half private and then letting people in later when they play to hear them is really fun. 100 Line is more of a, I want to be talking about it as I do it with my friends. So I might just make a playlist for Danganronpa thoughts. I want to start doing a series where I go back and look at characters from Danganronpa 1, especially if I replay a little bit more. And yeah, that'll be a thing. I'm sure 2 will get that treatment someday, because I like talking about Danganronpa. But I don't want to do it on the main channel, and I don't want a Danganronpa following. It's just going to be a secret hot topic inside the great mallways of Melovania, a place in the labyrinth. And in that place in the labyrinth, I'd like to start making language learning videos. I don't really have any ambition to make language learning videos on the main channel, but it might be a really fun practice, like we did on a live stream once, where I kind of just open the laboratory and we mess around for a bit. I am gearing up to eventually, for sure, unless my passion dies, make a Let's Play of Danganronpa, starting with 1. And as I step towards that, I'm thinking about chopping up Danganronpa 1 and taking specific scenes in Japanese and explaining them, and I'll have to learn a lot myself doing it, but my dream would be to make a casual thing where we go through it, I explain some of the localization differences, I give you some take-home words and grammar, and ideally people of any level can enjoy it to some extent. And if it's on the mallways, it can be a loose enough format that I don't have to worry about perfecting it and making it super consumable. So pretty soon, just because I have the bug to be messing around with Danganronpa 1, I might drop the first language-related video on the mallways and have like a learning Japanese with Leon and Sayaka's investigation type video. So yeah, that's your mellow direct for the end of this. Thanks for listening. Wow! I feel like I repeated myself ad nauseum in this series. I have to learn how to work around that. Like, do you think Sonya could die? I'm so dumb for predicting Sonya. Of course, there's no way to plan this kind of thing because I'm just going with the flow and it's what happened. But I have to admit I'm a little bit tired of saying some of these things. At least I had 2 hours of glazing Chiaki to freshen this one up. Man, what a journey. Man, I already want to go back.